Doing tonight? I'm doing pretty well. We're going to get started here in just a couple of minutes once I'm sure everything is up and operational. Okay, it looks like we're getting started here. Perfect. Okay, so hello everybody. How is everybody doing tonight? Mike says, not going to make it tonight. Ooh, I'm sad. And I'm also not at the point where I can even begin to write my own music, let alone play it. It's certainly understandable, but I'll be practicing. Best wishes, everybody. Yeah, thanks, Mike. So this is the last composition lesson, at least for a little while. I mean, I will continue the series, and we'll finish it out building on what we have learned so far. There's something like sticky on my laptop, like a little spot there. But anyway, back to reality. Let's take a look here. So we have Barbara back once again. We got Linda Reitz here today. Angie's back into the classroom. Welcome out, everybody. So happy that you could join us today. I don't know why I said that. Join us today. Okay, and today, as you can look from the title, this is the third composition lesson where I'm going to teach you the basics of writing a good melody. So I'm going to get us started here. Oh, we're at 8 o'clock already. So what I'm going to do is just give me like less than a minute. I'm going to start the Facebook stream, and then I'm going to get us all started here. Laredo says, let me read from Laredo. Hello, everybody in all corners of the globe. I trust you had an awesome weekend. I am so looking forward to another great lesson with my fellow creative family. Hey, Rich, how's it going? Kick that mule, Tim. Thank you very much, Rich. Glad to hear from you again. Glad to see you here. All right, just give me a second to get the Facebook stream started. Okay. All right, almost there. Oh, really? Okay, anyway. Here we go. Wait, really? I don't know. All right, let's get her started. Hello, students, and welcome back to our wonderful classroom. Your teacher, Tim, here from Piano Lessons on the Web. And today we are going to be talking about how to write a good melody. But first I want to tell you to share this lesson if you haven't already on social media, because it really helps us out. The more people we have show up today and come into attendance, the better of a lesson we'll have. Just let me get one thing adjusted here. Oh. There we go. Perfect. Perfection. Not that. Okay, here we go. Hello, students. Welcome to the classroom. Your teacher, Tim, here, and today I'm going to teach you the basics anyway. Let me try that again. Hello, students. Welcome to the classroom. Your teacher, Tim, here, and today I'm going to tell you the basics of writing a good melody. But before we dive into that, we got to talk about what a melody is. A melody is usually the top line of a piece, and it's the most memorable part. And melodies, by the way, are read from left to right. So let's take a look. So an example would be Jingle Bells. So that's the melody. The harmony is the background chords to it, which kind of fills out the overall sound. But today we're just talking about the melody. Another example of a melody is Fur Elise. So this is the melody of Fur Elise. So I'm going to tell you what some great things or some things that you want to be looking out for when writing a melody. Okay, I want to tell you that melodies have a combination of steps, skips, and leaps. They will have a lot of steps, fewer skips, and a very few leaps. So let me show you exactly what I mean by that to clarify. So let's take a look. So mostly steps. So stepping is when you are going from note to note up and down on the piano. And you're not skipping, which brings me to the next thing. Skipping is skipping over every other note like that. A leap is larger than that. Leaps can be really, really large. They can just be a little bit larger than a skip. And if you know your intervals, steps are seconds, skips are thirds, meaning they're 3 notes apart, and a leap is a fourth or larger. All right, let's talk a little bit more about this. What? Okay. There we go. Okay, so melodies have phrasing. Like when speaking, melodies have phrases which help the listener identify complete ideas in the piece. So bringing back the example of, Jingle Bells. There's a first part of the phrase or first part of the melody that kind of sets it up. And then this is like the answer to that. And then what they commonly do is you'll hear that first part repeated again. So melodies have a lot of familiarity, and that is created by the phrasing. But then at the very end it changes, right? To sound a little bit more conclusive. So when you're writing melodies, also think about the phrasing that you are going for. You're going to be repeating ideas. It's not just going to be different all of the time. Okay, and then I want to take a look at this page here for a minute. So let me get this up on my screen. There we go. All right. Okay, I want you to take a look at this page. It's openmusictheory.com/period. I'll try to remember to put a link in the description. Remind me if I don't once the lesson is posted. So here we have the period, which is made up of 2 phrases, an antecedent phrase, which kind of sets it up, and a consequent phrase. So let's take a look. I'm not going to get into like the really, really nitty gritty because I really am just trying to get you the basic concepts of how these work. So here is your antecedent phrase from Haydn Piano Trio in C major. And then it starts over again. So this was like the beginning, almost the beginning of Jingle Bells, this part. And then this is the part that kind of answers down to it. And then it repeats again. Okay, now we're going to throw in the consequent phrase into it. So now that we have a complete idea, as you can see from this page right away, let me see if I can get both the piano and that up there. As you can see right away that the beginning here and it starts again. And just see how at the very end it changed just a little bit. So you have this like 2.5 measure setup where you have this. And then like a little bit of a rest. See how that kind of has a rising, not only sound, but you can actually see the notes going up that way. The answer to that is that it kind of comes back down the other way. It has some contrast to it. So you're setting up an idea, you're contrasting that. You're setting up the same idea again, the exact same idea. You're going to come down. It's almost the same, but changes at the very end. So that's really what I want you to get out of it instead of this antecedent consequent thing. I mean, it's the same thing, but just notice that you're setting it up an idea. You have for about 2 measures. You have a contrasting idea for 2 measures. Then you're setting up the same idea and then changing it at the very end. Okay, so take a look at that. You can read more about it if you are more interested in this phrasing stuff. But you can't write a good melody without thinking about phrasing, which we're going to write our own melody here in a few minutes to kind of put all these ideas together. Okay, I got some tips for you if you're a beginner. So you want to start and end the melody on a chord tone, which is like so whatever chord you have in the bass. So say we're in C major and you're playing a C major chord. If you want to play it safe, start the melody on one of those 3 notes. Now you can start it on a different note if you know what you're doing, but in the beginning when you're just starting out, stick to these 3. Kind of like that. So you're using the notes of the chord below. That's what I call playing it safe. And when you're a beginner, that's what you want to do. You don't want to get too creative right away. Music to me and music theory and composition and pretty much everything is all about learning the rules first. And then once you learn more about how you can break those rules, then you can get a little bit more creative. But if you get too creative, right off the bat, it's not going to sound very good. One thing I want to kind of go back to really quick is the use of steps, skips, and leaps. So remember, stepping is going up and down. Stepping is playing it safe with a melody. Skipping, you're starting to get a little bit more interest in there. So really, skips and leaps are to add interest into the music, because if you just play steps, it sounds okay, right? But it's just kind of meandering. It really doesn't have like a... or something like that. So it really just kind of helps you add more interest into it. If you have nothing but leaps, you'll get what I call robot music, where it just sounds like a bunch of bleeps and bloops. And then if you have nothing but skips, it sounds okay, but again, it lacks some direction to it. So I'll tell you what, let us write a melody together so we can put all these ideas and you can actually see how it's done. So let's take a look at what we got. Hey, Larry, let me say hi to everybody. Larry's here. Hello, welcome out to our live stream. Remember that we meet Fridays, Sundays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're interested in joining us again, feel free to join us. Brenda's here again. We got Fireflower. Jordan's back. A little bit late today, but that's not okay. I mean, that is okay. I don't know why I said that's not okay. And then Linda says, I can hear you but not see you. So Linda, please... oh, well, if you can hear me, you can hear this. So please refresh your browser. If I'd imagine everybody else can see me. So I imagine everybody would be telling me right now, Tim, I can't see you at all. Okay. Anywho, let's go on to our melody here. Okay, let's see, we're in the key of C major, and I'm just going to write out the chords we have on the bottom. And if you don't know much about chord progressions, we're going to kind of skip over that for right now. Actually, we covered it in a previous lesson. Make sure you check out the other 2 composition lessons I put out. I'm going to make sure to put these in a playlist all together so you can watch them, lesson 1, lesson 2, and lesson 3. All right, so this is, we're going to do the chords of C major, F major. I know it looks funny, but it is in inversion. And then we're just doing a standard 1-4-5 progression here. So there's a G major chord. And then back to C major. Okay, and then I'm going to take this and then I'm going to copy it over here. So we're just focusing on the melody today. Let me get this out of our way. There we go. Okay, so here we are on the first measure, and let's try to put these ideas together. So, what chord do we have on the bottom? Well, it's a C major chord made up of the notes C, E, and G, which you can see on the piano. Oops, let me move this a little bit. Which you can see on the piano right there. So, what was one of the tips I gave you? What note should we start with, do you think? Well, how about a C, E, or G, right? We're going to play it safe. It's our first time doing this. And how about we start on a C? C is actually the safest of those three, by the way. And then remember what I said is that you want to use mostly steps, fewer skips, and even fewer leaps. So let's start out with a few steps, shall we? Going upwards. Okay, so far we have this. And one thing you want to do is, if you're familiar with playing on the piano, you want to play, or you can even put it in your composition software, is to play the melody back, or what you have so far back. Doesn't sound too bad so far. I think we're going to add a little bit more intrigue here into the next measure. So how about we have an F major chord now made up of the notes F, A, or C. So the beginning of this measure, we're going to stick to the chord tone just to make it easy on ourselves. And you know, we just had a bunch of steps. Let's add in a leap here to a chord tone there. And let's see here. So we want... And you know what? Let us... I kind of want to step down from that and then have a little bit of a skip here. So we've set up the first two measures of our melody. Yeah, it sounds all right. Now, what should we do? Remember how we set up, like how Jingle Bells is set up? So these are the first two measures, right? And then what happens after that? Try to remember. Well, something that has to contrast that idea. So far we have notes stepping up, we have leaps, and then a little bit of a skip there at the end. So maybe, and we're actually going mostly up and then coming back down. How about we start this next one high? We'll start it, instead of steps, we'll start it with like a skip or something like that. So we're making contrast. You know, if the notes are going up, the contrast, they should go down. I mean, you can play around with this. It's not 100%. Like I said, this lesson is really for beginners. This is writing your first melody. There's a lot more to writing melodies than this, trust me. Okay, so let's, you know, I said maybe we'd skip down a little bit. Okay, let's see how this sounds. Okay, and I'm going to play the whole thing just to see what we got. Let me get the whole thing in here so you can see it. There you go. It's not sounding too bad. And then let's finish coming down, right? Because the whole melody in the beginning was mostly going up. So let's come down. We're in a new measure. What should we do? Should we experiment around and get really crazy? Well, not yet, right? Maybe if we were writing our second or third melody. Let's go down and let's just pick a chord tone, either a C, E, or G. Play it safe, as I like to say, and then maybe step down from there. One thing I like to do at the end of a phrase, or the end of the first part of the phrase, is to put a half note. or maybe like some kind of rest, that kind of like, rather than just having all straight quarter notes, which would kind of sound like a run-on sentence almost. So when you speak sentences, right, there are periods, there are longer words, that kind of thing to kind of help with inflection. At the end of a two-measure idea, I always like to put a half note or just something that contrasts it a little bit. So as you see, I have a half note here and a half note right there. You can also put like a little rest there, so long as there's just some kind of breath in the idea. So this is what we have so far. This is our complete idea of what we have. Oops. Let me get it to where everybody can see. Yeah, not bad, right? And then what are we going to do? We're only halfway there. We still have an entire 4 measures to go. Well, let's take a look here. So remember what we talked about before. Remember the page we were looking at earlier where we had this phrase going on, the antecedent consequent phrase, where we set up the first phrase. So we're through the antecedent. So it rises, and then it has like a contrast to it. And then it starts this same thing again. So when we start our next 2 measures, we're literally going to do the same thing we did before. We're even going to do the same thing we did before leading into the end, except we're going to change it a little bit to make it seem a little bit more final. Okay, so here we go. So in the technology world, we have this lovely thing called copy and paste. I'm sure you are aware of it. So I'm just literally going to copy and paste that, right? And these 2 measures, I don't need to touch those. And I'm probably not going to touch the first 2 of this phrase coming down here. What I'm probably going to do, though, is I'm probably going to change these 2 notes a little bit and then the rest of them as well. Okay, let me think about what we should do. Again, experimentation is key a lot of times. You know what? I want to change this. I'm actually going to change the first phrase. Sorry if this creates any confusion. I want to put a G right here, only because when you end a phrase on the 5th note of the chord, so see how we have a C major chord. Let me show you what I'm working with the piano here. So I have a C major chord down here, and if it's the first phrase, right? If you end on the first note of the chord, it sounds too final. You want to do that at the end. But if I ended on a 5th or even a 3rd, but the 5th note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's called the 5th of the chord, it has more of a feeling that it should continue going. If I do this, it sounds final. So we're actually going to do that at the very end, which we already have there. So I am going to change up this measure a little bit. You know, maybe we'll like even go for something a little different. We'll even maybe go up first. And then maybe do like a little bit of a skip down. And then have that final sound there. So let me play through the entire thing. Let me zoom it. I know it's going to be kind of far out for all of you to see, but I need to see it to play it all the way through. So I'm going to play it through, and I'm going to see what we got. So not bad, I would say. It's not the most interesting melody I've ever heard in my life, but that wasn't the goal today. We wanted to find something that sounded really, really good. Say, and actually I kind of took a risk here by doing a little bit of a leap here from the D to the E, or the E to the B rather. And the E doesn't really belong in the chord. But it worked out. Say the note didn't work out. Say it sounded terrible. Well, I put it for you. If something doesn't sound right, let me get us back here. Hold on a minute. If something doesn't sound right, move notes to chord tones. So if that E doesn't sound right, I would just move it to a G, B, or D, whatever the chord is below. Remember, mostly play it safe. You can be a little bit artistic if you want, especially after you have the melody written and you know it sounds good. Then you can experiment around, see what sounds good, but stick to the basic rules first. Do not try to be a hero right off the bat. Do not try to be Mozart right off the bat. Just get the basics down, which is setting up, well, first of all, properly using chord tones, using the steps, mostly steps, fewer skips, even fewer leaps, to create a decent melody. Remember, you want to set up an idea. You want to contrast that idea. You want to set up that idea again, the same thing as you did before, and then you want to contrast that idea and change it up a little bit. Remember, at the end of your first idea here, or your first phrase, is it's a good idea to end on the fifth note of the chord. Oh, well, let me show you. Forgot that we weren't looking there. All right, so don't forget to end on the fifth note of the chord, because that makes you sound like it's going to continue going. And then at the end on the first note of the chord. That's a little tip I have for you. That will make it sound like the idea is now complete. You're ready to move on to an entirely new section of the piece. Just to wrap it up for everybody. Okay, I'm going to open it up now. Any questions about what we talked about tonight? There may be some, in there already. Tim, can we hear some of your original music? You know what? If I had my other tablet down here, I could definitely show you something I wrote on that, like when the power was out one day. A lot of my original music is on my old hard drive, which is either destroyed or I have it like laying in a box somewhere. I had to pull it out of my old laptop because the laptop died. I'm not sure if the hard drive still works or not. Let me see. I wrote the student jingle. Let me see if I wrote anything. Yeah, because I got this. Yeah, I don't think I had a chance to write anything on this. I'll bring my other tablet down sometimes. I have a couple that I wrote on that. I can show you the student jingle, which I reminded myself I need to finish because it would be something cool to like kind of start out the lesson with. Now, this uses a couple different ideas. It uses more of what I call... Oh, wait, let me show you exactly what I'm talking about because you're like, what is going on? The bass line now, instead of doing just chords, has this like kind of drone thing, which is kind of what I wanted to do because I wanted it to be like a little bit catchier. So let me see how this sounds. It's still a work in progress. Let me get her up here. And that's, oh wait, no, it still goes. And this is the one like at the end. So I'll show you like when it's ready. You'll see it pop into the live stream. I think it'll be a fun little thing that we can like even sing together, just to kind of get us all in the mood of learning. Okay, and then yeah, I'll show you a piece I wrote. You know, I wrote a couple of pieces. Let me look something up really quick. Let's get everybody in there. All right, I don't even know if it's still up. I used to have music on Myspace. I don't see it. I even typed in my name plus Myspace, unless I put it under a different name. Yeah, I see my Udemy profile and my picture there. So, yeah, is Myspace even, like, active anymore? Or maybe they delete... I don't know. You remember MySpace, everybody? Student Jingle was muted. It shouldn't have been. Nah, I'm not going to go get the tablet right now. I just don't feel like feeling lazy. I don't feel like getting up. Besides, if you didn't hear that, it shouldn't have been muted. It should have been playing through my speakers. Maybe it wasn't loud enough, but I had them cranked. Unfortunately, Staff Pad, it's not very loud. So, I don't know. I'll just show you some other time. I should have come more prepared to show you something I had a little bit more fleshed out. Is this lesson applicable for chord progressions? Yeah, so it definitely is. But I do recommend you learn chord progressions first. What I recommend you do is go on the wonderful YouTubes. Yes, I know I called it YouTubes. Go on YouTube. Type create chords. Well, first of all, just type in chord progression and lessons on the web. And if you're new to chord progressions, I highly recommend you check out this one up top first. But we did a lesson recently that was like how to create chords for your song. And I'm just going to put lessons on the web because I don't think it ranked in search too well. Yeah, how to create chords for your song. I highly recommend you try that. We also had a full live stream on it in case I had any kind of tips that I put in there that I didn't put into the full video. But I try to put as many of the useful tips in there as possible. So check out that one with the D minor chord circled because that's really the first lesson to this series. The next one, like I said, I'm going to make a playlist for you. Just type in how to create rhythms. Oh. Yeah, I should probably put lessons on the web. Because I think it's how to create rhythms for your song. No. Picking rhythms. How to practice with a metronome. That was a good lesson, by the way. Oh, here you go. How to choose a rhythm style for your music composition. Check out that lesson after and then come back and watch this one. Knowing chord progressions is really helpful in writing your melody because that will help you pick out the chord tones. If you don't know what chords you're doing, well, you can't write chord tones now, can you? Hello to Bernadine, back once again. So glad you could come out and learn with us tonight. We got Pedro back once again. Any tips when you're writing a new arrangement to a song that already exists? Any tips on that? I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't done a whole lot of arrangements. I did do some though. I'm trying to like access my memory bank as it's been a good 10 years since I've written an arrangement. You want to learn about something called reharmonization. I don't know if I have a lesson on that or not. Let me see. Oh, let me type in lessons on the web. I have a lesson on harmonization. Check out this lesson. This one's by me. An introduction to chord substitutions on piano. And the first step I have for you is go through and substitute some of the chords with different chords to give it a different type of sound. If you're going for like a different type of an arrangement. If you're going for like something where it's written in piano and then you're writing it out for the different instruments, then you're going to want to basically take the piano score and write it out on the different instruments. But of course, to do that, it's a bit trickier than it seems because you have to know about transposition. You have to know like what are the range of each instrument, what are they capable of, what types of rhythm pattern and melody patterns is each good at. So you'll have to know that. I wish I had a more info for you, but check out chord substitutions. Try that out. Try swapping out some of the chords, making things a little bit different, a little bit more interesting. Okay, let's see what we got going on here. Hey, Shesk is here once again, everybody. We had Adria Adria didn't come back. We had Abigail come back, and now Shesk is back once again. Hello, Shesk, and welcome back out to our live stream. One thing that's bothering me... Wait, hold on. Okay, now you can kind of see it. I actually need to move up the camera a little bit. That works pretty good, I think. Okay. How you doing, Shesk? Glad to have you back with us again. It's been a while. Francois says, thank you for the wonderful videos. You're very welcome, everybody. We got, Rich says the student jingle was muted. I think, let me try it. Let me see if I can play it for you while some more questions are coming in. Okay, let me... Okay, I'm trying to zoom out so I can see everything. Hello, students. Welcome out. Hope you're ready to learn, 'cause that's what we're all about. And then there's one that's going to like start us out. It might change a little bit. And then the other one, it's the exact same thing. Goodbye, students. Gotta run. We sure learned a lot and had lots of fun. And then, like I said, it might be a little bit different, but that is the student jingle. All right, and then anybody, I want everybody to, I forgot to mention this. I always try to mention it right after the main part of the lesson before I open up for questions. If you liked our lesson tonight and you like what we're all about here, which is learning piano, as you can hear from the jingle, feel free to leave a super chat. It's really helpful and helps support our wonderful classroom. Another great way of supporting is through the courses over on my website, pianolessonsontheweb.com. We're going to talk about those a little bit more in a few minutes. I'm just going to answer some more questions here, see if I missed any. Okay, Laredo asks, in a particular piece, where would we say the cadences are? Ooh, good question. So let me go back to the piece we were writing, right? So cadences normally appear, not this one. Let me get to the one we were doing before. Cadences normally appear, let's see. Now I think about it, I probably should have had a 5-chord here. But anyway, a cadence will normally appear after every 4 measures, not always. So like right there, 1, 2, 3, 4, and right there. So that's one of the reasons I wanted you to end on a the 5th of the chord right here, because that creates a certain type of cadence that makes it sound like it's going to continue going. I don't remember off the top of my head exactly what all the cadences are called. Let's look it up, because I want to give you a little information. So cadences is important because a cadence is really, it also helps you, wait, hold on, cadence. Let me get this in here instead of just talking about it. Okay, in Western musical theory, a cadence is a melodic or harmonic configuration or pattern, I guess you could say, or the way that the notes are arranged. That creates a sense of resolution, finality, or pause. So the reason I said you wanted to end on the first of the chord is to create that finality. If you end on the 5th, it sounds like it should continue going on. There's many types of cadences that you can read about. Perfect authentic cadence is a 5-to-1 with roots in the bass and tonic in the highest part of the final chord. Oh my goodness, I remember all this. Like a 2-5-1 progression in C major. So this is what like a perfect authentic cadence would sound like. It should sound very final. Oops. Hope if I could play it. So you had this 2 chord, which is a minor chord. You had 5 and then to 1. By the way, 5 to 1 is a great way to set up a cadence, mainly because 5 to 1 is, first of all, part of the most important chord progression in music, but it also has a final sound to it. I know I'm, well, let's go on to half cadence. Half cadence is a 1-5 progression, right? So we're going to end on 5. And notice how when I do that, it sounds like it should continue going. And then if you end on a 1 chord, it sounds final. So you want to be setting up cadences at the, if you're a little bit more advanced, setting up cadences at the end of each phrase. And you want a half cadence, meaning you're going to be ending on a 5 chord at the end of that first phrase. And that sets it up to continue. And at the very end, you just want to end on the root of the chord, whatever key you're in. So if you're in C major, end on a C major chord, hit a C in your melody, and then it sounds final. But if you end on a 5, see how it has a sound like it should continue playing. Okay, Rich says, this song is a nice, simple example. Making original music is terrifying to me. I just stick to playing the music of others. Hi, good morning for the Philippines, says Sanza. Welcome out, by the way. Glad to have you with us. Alberto, welcome out to our live stream. So everybody that I've missed while I was teaching the lesson, welcome out. If it's your first time here, you're always welcome back again. I'm always excited when I see, you know, returning names. I'm, well, excited to see new names, but especially returning ones because I love having as many people as part of our classroom as possible. It really helps make things even enjoyable for me because we can share a lot more ideas that way, and it's just kind of fun to, you know, catch up with everybody each week. And I feel like we're a big part of a big family here. So you're always welcome back Fridays, Sundays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be meeting next Friday at the same time. Okay, let's take a look here. Cadences seem like quantum physics to me. I don't think I'll ever understand it fully. You will. David says, I've heard that most songs either start and end on the key note of the key signature. That is true. So if you're in C major, the first note's going to be a C. The end note's most likely going to be C. Not all the time, but 90% of the time. Is that true? And can you use this to figure out the key of the song you hear? Yes. The answer is most likely yes. Not always, though. For instance, Fur Elise, known as the Bagatelle in A minor, is in A minor, but it begins on the 5th note of the chord, or the A minor chord. So let me put it this way. Your first note of the chord, or the first note of the piece, is either going to be the root of that chord, the middle note, which is the 3rd, or the 5th. It's going to belong to the chord of the key that you're in. And the first chord of the piece, if I move these all up into the same octave, will be the chord of whatever you're in. So the answer is yes. You just got to be a little careful that, you know, it's not always the note of the key that you're in, but it's going to belong to the chord. But I would say, you know, a good percentage of the time it is true. Well, even Jingle Bells, right? Jingle Bells, if you're in the key of C, begins on E. Now, E isn't C, right? So that doesn't match up. But E is part of the C major chord. So first what you want to do is you say, all right, what key are we in? We're in C major. Or maybe you don't even know that, but, you know, just kind of think about what chord is going on in your left hand. Actually, just look at the chord in the left hand, and that will tell you. Don't look at the melody note per se. Just know that the melody note likely 90% of the time is going to match up with one of the chords, one of the notes of the chord you have in the left hand. Same thing with the very end of the piece. No, deceptive cadence is not the same as a half cadence, because from what I remember, a deceptive cadence, let's find one here if we can. I thought a deceptive cadence, if I'm correctly, is instead of playing like 2, 5, 1, you play 2, 5, 6. So what you're doing is you're using a chord substitution to replace that final C major chord, which would be here, with an A minor chord. It's just one note different. So it's deceptive in that it makes it sound like it's going to finish on 1, but it ends up, well, Whoops. Finishing on 6. I know this is over the heads of probably a lot of people that are very new. I believe that's what a Deceptive Cadence is, if I can remember it. Like I said, I haven't worked with cadences and some of the stuff in quite a while, so I'd have to brush up on it, or I'd have to really read through these, and then I would really understand. A Picardy cadence, by the way, is when you have, so instead of doing like 2, 5, 1 as a major chord, I'm going to do it as a minor chord. That's called a Picardy third. Like that. Hey, let's take a look. Shesk says, I miss you guys, Tim and Rich. I think about these sessions, but too much going on in my life. New job, moving, and big things. Too stressful to give the piano the attention it deserves. Oh, that's all right, Shesk. That's perfectly understandable. I appreciate you jumping in. It's a lot of fun having you here. Can we safely assume, says Laredo, that a half cadence, I already said that. Hello, we've got Haryad here. Welcome out to our live stream. Happy you could join us this evening. Okay, any other questions about what we talked about tonight? Did I miss anybody? All right, let's see. Hey, Shesk, how have you been? Try to always set up some time for the piano, no matter if it's not a large portion of time. All right, so while some more questions and comments are coming in, I want to tell you guys about something. Of course, if you are a regular attendee here, you know about this already. But if you are new, or you just want, some information on it again, here we go. Okay, students, I really want to tell you about my website, and the reason behind that, there's a reason, is that I have over 20 courses I've designed over there to help you learn a lot more about piano and music. It's pianolessonsontheweb.com. Now, what you can expect from these courses is the same type of instructional videos you can expect here from the channel. They are exclusive to the website, of course, but not only do you get that, these are courses, so you're going to get videos, you're going to get assignments, you're going to get printable sheet music examples, notes that you can review the information on, sheet music, and anything else I forgot to mention here. It's a much more complete learning experience than what you can get on YouTube. So if you like what you see over here on the channel, you're really going to love what you see over there. These courses are designed to help you learn piano, music theory, improvisation, ear training, and anything else I felt like you needed to become a well-rounded musician. So these are great because these help you not only learn topics, but they help you review, practice, and master them as well. And did I mention it's also a great way to help and support the channel. So go over to pianolessonsontheweb.com today and check out those courses. I really wanted to tell you about that because, like I said, if you like what you see over here, you're really going to like what you see over on the website. Okay, let's see. Okay, no new questions in yet. All right, let me talk about then what we're going to be talking about over the next couple of weeks. Actually, tomorrow, Monday is always the day where I update the calendar, in case you're wondering. If you're new here to the live stream, go to pianolessonsontheweb.com, click on Community, and right on this page, you can fill out this form, and you're going to get an email reminder 30 minutes before we meet from me. Instead of YouTube, which can be a little bit wonky. Actually, I'm a little bit wonky too. I forgot once or twice, but 99% of the time, I will remember. So it's a lot more reliable. Scroll down and you can check out the calendar of what we're talking about and when we're meeting. So we had the composition today. Next Friday, we're talking about how to understand and play in cut time. So that's 2/2. I believe Rich was talking about that the other day. So I'm going to talk about the differences between 2/2 and like 2/4 and things like that, because there is a difference. And then Sunday, we're probably going to change this lesson. We might take off next Sunday because I believe it's Mother's Day, right? Mother's Day. So I assume a lot of people will probably be doing something. Yeah, so it's May 13th. So I'm probably going to take off then. I will let you know if I don't. And like I said, check out the calendar tomorrow to check out the update. And then the next Friday is Common Problems. that piano student's face. I'm going to try to add in some new information that I've never talked about before. I know we've discussed this kind of topic before, but I'm going to try to throw in some extra juicy tidbits on things that you might not have thought about. Rich says, cut time lesson. Yes. So see, I do listen to you guys. When you guys talk about certain things in the chat, I do see it, and then I'm like, ooh, I'm going to, oh, you've seen me write down lesson ideas before. So I like to make this your community in your classroom. Of course, I'm not going to do every lesson somebody suggests, mainly because I want a certain direction for the channel, and I want to make sure the lesson is good for the channel. And but yeah, I listen every once in a while. I vote for cut time lesson 2. All right, good. So you guys will enjoy that one. That's next Friday. So we're definitely meeting then. Sunday's up in the air. I would say probably no, but maybe yes. And then the rest of the lessons, if you're wondering why they all say community Q&A, that's just a placeholder because I haven't put in the lesson topics there quite yet. Tim, can you explain how to count the song Sonatina in C? What is a grace note? Okay, I can explain that. Actually, Julio, I believe we have a lesson on grace notes. I always like to point people to lessons because I usually explain things in more detail there. And I also think about things ahead of time when I make a lesson. So let me just type in grace notes, lessons on the web. Really? I don't have a lesson on grace notes? I swear I did. Huh. Okay. Well, anyway, a grace note. Let me write one out for you, and then I will address... the 20 lesson modules are not free. You'll have to go over to the website to check those out. One thing I want to mention, though, is you can buy the course packs and get a discount on those. Let me do one thing here at a time. Let me point Sansa to the right direction. So on my website, you just click on buy courses, and you can get a discount on buying a lot of courses, in a one pack. Also, a little tidbit of information for you if you've made it this far in the live stream as a thank you. Use the code YouTube during checkout. You're going to get an additional 15% off there. All right, grace notes. Let's tackle this one, and then I'm going to go through if I missed anybody else. So let's just go to our piece here, and let's add in try to add in a grace note. It's been a while. Let's see. Grace note, 2 grace notes. I don't really remember how the grace note works. So let me see. Wait, hold on. I think I need an 8th note. Okay. I mean, I remember how it works. I just don't remember how to put it in the music. There we go. Okay, so this is a grace note. And what a grace note is basically a note that's fit in right before another note. So as you can see right here, the grace note, the little eighth note, I should know this by now. 8th note with a slash through it, that's your grace note. And what you're going to do is you're going to hit that note and come right off of it. So let me show you how it's going to be played. So here we go at the last measure here. It's going to go like that. Before we add, but now we have. Now the trick to the grace note is that you want to hit the primary note, the big note right after it, on the beat it's intended for. So that's beat 2, right? You got 1, 2, 3, 4. So the grace note does not affect the rhythm. You don't want to go 1, 2, 3, 4. That's too slow. You want 1, 2, 3, 4. You want to make sure you're hitting that D on beat 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's a quick explanation of the grace note. I could have swore that I had a grace note lesson. I'm going to have to look for that, and then if not, maybe I'll make a grace note lesson after that. It was during a Q&A kind of thing. Oh, okay. Sonatina, can you explain how to count this for the song Sonatina in C by whom, though, Rich? Because there are actually a lot of pieces called Sonatina in C. All sonatina means, I believe, is little sonata. Having problems with fingering, is there any way for me, is there help for me in your web lesson? Fingering. Okay, so let me point you to a lesson. I do know I have one of these. I believe it's called the Piano Fingering Guide. And I don't know, let's add in lessons on the web after that. Okay, so type in Piano Fingering Guide, lessons on the web. I want you to watch that first one right there. It says Fingering Guide. You can check that out. What I also recommend you do is actually start learning your scales, because your scales will introduce you to some very basic finger crossings and things like that. So you might even want to check out the lesson right underneath that, how to play all 12 major scales on the piano with fingering. Which didn't perform very well, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm always looking at that, like, how did that lesson do? So check out the fingering guide. You type in Piano Fingering Guide, lessons on the web into YouTube, and then check those 2 lessons out there. Yeah, the minuet does have a few grace notes. That is very true, Jordan. We got Sonatina in C by Clementi. All right. No. Is this it? Bum ba da dum bum bum ba da dum ba ba da 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 da. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Man, it's really hard to do this and do it at the same time. 1 2 1 2. So 2 beats in a measure, because the other thing for cut time, the other name for it, is 2-2. So you have 2 beats in a measure. That's basically telling you have 2 half notes in each measure. I'll probably cover this during the lesson. Okay. Yeah. So what I would do is, instead of counting it in 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, now you got to think about these really as eighth instead of quarter, eighth, eighth. This is really more like eighth, 16th, 16th, and 4, 4. 1, 2. So instead of 4 beats in each measure, you're condensing 2 of the beats into a beat. Trust me, I'm going to think of a better way to explain this to the next lesson. I'm also having a problem finding words tonight, but anyway. But yeah, you want to count it in 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Like I said, it's really hard to continue counting out loud and play it at the same time. But yeah, I can definitely cover this for you in more detail. Just know that you're counting it in 2. You know, if you're counting it in 4, 4, beat 1 is still beat 1, but beat 2 really falls on beat 3, and you're condensing the beats into 1. It has a, well, it's called cut time for a reason, and it's really to help kind of speed things along. Let me get this for you. Let me remind me, especially if I forget this, Rich, during the lesson, remind me. But I'm saving this, and I'm going to save it in a folder. Oh, in our sheet music folder. Here we go. Makes sense. Cut time example sonatina in C. All right, I'll make sure to cover that in the lesson on cut time. Thanks, Rich. Okay. David left us a $5 super chat, everybody. Thank you so much, David, for supporting our classroom here. A big round of applause for David. Thank you so much. We got Sansa says that's one of my favorites. Laredo says, in which time signature would you say the theme song to Lone Ranger is in? I really don't know. I actually am not familiar. I know I've heard that song before, but I do not have it. I feel like that's a similar thing, though, isn't it? Dun, 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 dun. No, that's not that one, is it? It has a similar theme, though, to that. Hold on. I don't want to play it now because that will get me in trouble with YouTube. I can probably get away with playing it. What I learned that is if you play sheet music, most of the time it's okay. Although they can send in a dispute or a copyright claim, I can dispute it. The annoying thing about that is it takes 30 days sometimes for those to go away, and then by then I've lost some of the ad revenue on that, which isn't the most important thing, but I want to be as careful if I can. Is it just William Tell Overture theme? Is it this? Yeah, it is. That's what I was thinking. I was like, is it William Tell? Yeah, that's it. So in this case, it's 4/4. You might be able to do it in 1, 2, 1, 2. You can do it in cut time. You could do it in either one. I'm not sure what the original is in, because if you play this 4/4 example fast enough, it's good. But 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Wait, 1, 1. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, so you could count it either way. You can actually count all 4/4 pieces in 2/2. It'll just go by a little bit quicker. So I'm not sure what the original is in. This happens to be in 4/4. It looks like the other example I saw was also in 4/4. No, this one's in 2/4. Okay, so you have in 2/4, which makes sense. You could put it in 2/4 easily. So I don't know. It's either 4/4, 2/4, or 2/2. Yeah. Yeah. You know what, William Tell Overture, original time signature. Okay, there's nothing that says time signature there. Okay, I don't think it says anything about the time signature here, at least not from what the find function can find. Let's try this. This is as close. This usually has a lot of the original stuff somewhere in it. This one's in 2/4. But I don't know whether this is like the main theme or not. Or is it in 3/4? I can't even tell. I don't know. If somebody can figure it out for me, let me know. But it's definitely something divisible by 2. I saved that piece until I heard the whole work. Yeah, it's actually a really beautiful piece of work. Ba 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 ba. All right, everybody. Oh, we are over the hour, so you know what? I'm going to kind of wrap it up here. Let me think if there's anything I want you guys to do. If you want to check out the courses, remember piano lessons on theweb.com. Go over there, check those out. Use code YouTube during checkout for 15% off. And yeah, let me do the formal outro so when I piece this video together, you know, it makes sense. All right, I really want you to subscribe, students, and the reason behind that is we have new lessons coming out every Friday, every Sunday live. But we also have some lessons coming out peppered in between, so you don't want to miss a beat. So subscribe to the channel right now. So thanks everybody for coming out. This has been Tim from Piano Lessons on the Web. I'll check you out in the next lesson. Thank you so much. First time catching one of your live streams, just want to say thank you for your great videos. You're very welcome, Nathan. Welcome out, and welcome out anybody else. I know we had quite a few new attendees here tonight. Thank you for coming out. You're welcome to come out anytime, of course. Fridays, Sundays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Would love to see you back again. So thank you, everybody, and I will check you out for the next lesson. Jordan says 4 minutes over time. That's right. I don't want to go too over because I do have to edit the video at the end of the day. So, all right, everybody, thanks so much for coming out. You know, I want to thank you for being such a part of something that means a lot to me, which is this classroom we have here together. It gets more and more fun all the time, and I really enjoy our time together each week. I love seeing our new and returning faces. I feel like we have a really strong community of students here that are willing to ask great questions, willing to learn from each other, willing to help each other. And I think that's just fantastic. And it really keeps me going. I say all the time that if it wasn't for you, I would have quit making lessons a long time ago. So the reason we're still here, stronger than ever, is not only because of my hard work, but because of your inspiration and your help. So thanks everybody, and continue to go out there, share your gift of piano with the world, whether it's playing for somebody else, teaching somebody else. So this has been Tim from Piano Lessons on the Web. Thank you so much, everybody, and good night. Jordan is sleepy, I think. Have a splendid, truly blessed week ahead. You too, Laredo. Thank you so much. Larry, you are very welcome. Thanks for coming out. You're welcome to come back anytime that we're meeting live anyway. If you come back today at 3 o'clock in the morning, I don't think I'll be around. But anytime that we're meeting, feel free to come back. Let's get everybody back in here for the last couple minutes. Barbara says, love to hear it on 4th of July with fireworks. That is true. That's a great one. Thank you, Tim. Fellow students, truly appreciate this great family. Love always, says Laredo. And then, okay, the 1812 Overture. All right, everybody, have a great one, and I'll talk to you on Friday.